of you here with us this evening. And we were talking a little earlier about the weather. It's great to finally get some fall weather. Personally, I enjoy the fall of the year and the cool mornings that we have. But anyway, we're going to continue with the agenda. I'd like now to recognize Mrs. Dottie Darcy, who's going to do the invocation for the board.
Good evening. I'd like to ask that we have a moment of silence to remember all of our children and the teachers and staff who work with and for them every day. And we especially need to remember the children, families, and communities who've been so affected by the hurricane during this past week. So will you pause with me? Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Darcy. Heard earlier today that in the state of North Carolina, I think there's about 60 school districts out of 115 school districts in the state that were out today. Obviously, those were all down in the eastern part of the state due to flooding and the effects of Hurricane Matthew. So, yes, we need to keep those people in our thoughts and prayers, and certainly the people of Haiti, who have gone through many difficulties, not just with this hurricane, but over the past few years. At this point, I'd like to recognize two students who are here to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Kendall Triplett, 5th grade, daughter of Stephen and Julie Triplett, and Wiley Gregg, 5th grade, son of John and Heather Gregg. And they are from Davenport A+ School. So if you would, please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Thank you for being here. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, which the board has had some time to review. Do I hear a motion we approve the agenda as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. Next item, here again, the board has had an opportunity to review the minutes of the September 12th, 2016 regular session here in the boardroom, and also on that same night we had a closed session, and there were minutes from that which you have had an opportunity, board, to review. Do I hear a motion that we approve the minutes as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the September 12th regular session and closed session minutes as presented.
Second the motion.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. Next item is public comment, and as of 4:30 this afternoon, we had not received any requests for public comment, so we'll move along to announcements.
Just a note for our classes that are visiting from West. This public comment is an opportunity for the public to come and speak to the Board of Education on an issue that we may be discussing. So we put it out there and people can sign up for it, and if no one is signed up by 4:30, then we assume that no one is here to discuss the topic on the agenda. So that's the purpose of public comment, and it is a required for a public body to have that.
Thank you, Dr. Stone. Next is announcements, and let me just mention one thing. This past week we had National Police Night Out, and that was on the square in downtown Lenoir, and it was to honor the police forces within Caldwell County. Granny Falls, Hudson, Lenoir, Sheriff's Department, and there was a big crowd there. Some of you may have had an opportunity to go to that. It was a truly great event. I want to single out, though, the PTA, PTO groups in our county that did a fantastic job coming up with what was called a cruiser bag. A bag that the police officers could take in their cars and so forth, and it included such items as tissue, hand sanitizer, chips, cheese crackers, lifesavers, candy, bottle of water, and maybe most importantly, this is the thing I think the police officers, from what I've heard, really appreciated, and that was in each one of these bags was a letter from a student in Caldwell County telling the police officers how much they appreciated the job they did. So they were truly, truly appreciative of that. And the PTO did a great job putting that all together. So that was a great event. October 31st, we're going to be going as a board in what we call a walkthrough. We're going to be going to a number of schools starting early in the morning. We're going to be here at the Ed Center at 8 o'clock, and we're going to be visiting a number of schools, and along about 11 or 11:30, we're going to eat in the cafeteria of whatever school we happen to be at that time, and then we're going to visit a couple other schools and wrap up our visits by probably 1 or 1:30. At that time, and we will publicize which school this is going to be before that date. We're going to have an opportunity to answer any questions, talk to you as a community. So be on the lookout for that. We will be doing that on October 31st. On November the 8th is Election Day. Schools are out, the traditional schools are out, and it is also a staff professional development day as well. November the 11th, Veterans Day. There will be no school that day in the county. That is the only day that the state legislature says you can't go to school. Technically, we could go to school on New Year's Day. We could go to school on Christmas Day. But they will not let us go to school on Veterans Day. So you will have Veterans Day off. So actually 2 days that week. Tuesday for election, Friday for Veterans Day. And our next board meeting here at the Ed Center will be at 6 o'clock on November the 14th, 2016. Now we have on our agenda what we look forward to, and that is to honor students, staff members, other people in our county that have separated themselves in various ways, achieving wonderful things within the school system. So we're going to, as a board, move down to the front here, and our Community Relations Director, Mrs. Libby Brown, is going to be announcing these. So, board, if we will, just move down.
Well, I know I speak for the board when I say it's nice to have students fill up this room again. So welcome back to the school year. And it's nice to have parents and students around us again in the Board of Education room. Chairman Pennell, board members, Dr. Stone, we are here to recognize tonight our first group of students that will be featured in the 2016-2017 Education Center Art Gallery. Their artwork stood out among their peers, and their artwork was selected by their art teachers at the school level. So we want to congratulate them and honor them tonight for their extraordinary talents and the beauty in each art form that we have displayed at the Education Center for us to enjoy. So thank you. And parents, please come back. If you want to come back anytime during the month while the artwork is on display, we welcome you to come back and take more pictures, okay? As I call your name, please come forward and receive recognition from the Board of Education. We're going to start with High Brighton High School Principal David Caldwell and art teacher Jenna Bailey. Ninth grader Katie Beach, High Brighton High School. Dylan Coffey, senior, High Brighton High School. Allie Couch, junior, High Brighton High School. Xavier Dula, senior, High Brighton High School. And Rachel Easton, sophomore, High Brighton High School. You want to do another high school, or you want to? Okay, let's do a picture with just the High Brighton High students, if you want to get front and center. Time for moms and dads to take pictures as well. You want to get in?
Only
Go ahead,
if
sir.
my students will allow me.
Will you allow your principal to join you? Of course. Okay. And Rachel is playing volleyball tonight, so we know there's a lot of extracurricular activity going on. Thank you. Okay, for South Caldwell High School, Assistant Principal Ken Robbins is with us this evening. Jamie Stewart and Natalie Hayes are the art teachers. We're going to start with junior Candace Britton, South Caldwell. Candace here? Okay. We'll move along. Christian Gonzalez, sophomore. Christian. I know Miss Holgerson's here because I took a picture of her earlier. Esther Holgerson, sophomore. South Caldwell High School. Avery Lohman, junior, South Caldwell High School. And Aiden Wilson. Okay, so we're
We'll take a picture of
right
Sal.
here in
Come
the
on.
center, South students.
Robinson.
Mr. Robinson, would you like to, Mr. Robbins, would you like to join us? Very good. Good job. Okay. West Caldwell High School, Andy Poole is principal. Mr. Poole's with us this evening, and he brought his civics class with him as well, so thank you for that. Kevin Avey is the art teacher. Danny Austin, senior, West Caldwell High School. Avery Clark, junior, West Caldwell High School. Jacob Dawson, senior, West Caldwell High School. Brooke Lackey, junior, West Caldwell High School. Miss Lackey. And Autumn Workman. Beautiful pieces that you've been able to enjoy. Junior, West Caldwell. So you've seen their beautiful artwork here, and we encourage you to come back. Yeah, if you want to join us, Mr. Poole.
Okay, come on over, Wes. In the middle. Smile, if you like them. We love a warrior.
Very nice.
Smile, smile. All right, come on back there.
Congratulations. So we have another student recognition. We'll go with Isaac Spears. Isaac, Mr. Spears, you with us this evening? You come forward. Mr. Spears is a senior this year? Senior, proud senior at High Brighton High School, has been named commended student in the 2017 National Merit Scholarship Program. Commended students placed among the top 5% of more than 1.6 million students who entered the 2017 competition by taking the 2015 preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. So we're very, very proud of you, the top 5% in the nation right here in Caldwell County. This student represents a valuable national resource. So congratulations. Yes. 35 on his last ACT. Dr. Burns, how much does it take to get into the North Carolina University? 17. And he made a 35. Yes. Oh, please come forward. Karen? You want to take a picture? Mom and Dad?
Come back.
Isaac, do you want to introduce your parents?
These are my wonderful parents, Jake and Anna Spears. So they dealt with me for the past 17 years.
Very special night for you. Thank you. Congratulations. We also like to recognize and honor our outstanding educators. And we have one of those among us tonight, Kim Huffman, exceptional children's teacher at Collinsville School, has been selected as the Caldwell County Exceptional Children's Teacher of Excellence. Ms. Huffman began teaching at Gamewell Middle School in 1991, then transferred to Collinsville in 2000. She is a model teacher and most deserving of the honor of Caldwell County Exceptional Children's Teacher of Excellence. And Mrs. Pam Holt is here with us. She is the Exceptional Children's Assistant Director for the school district. So she's here in support of Mrs. Huffman.
Greg, you want to come up?
And Craig Siren, her principal, is here. Yes, that's right. Craig's here. Yes, Mr. Siren's here. Thank you for supporting your outstanding teacher. Thank you. Thank you. That's it.
No, come along.
Oh, that's right. I'm going to turn the podium over to Dr. Shaw.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's not often you get to award the Board of Education. They get to be on this side of the fence all the time, being nice and recognizing great students and great teachers. So tonight, we have the honor of presenting to them the Silver Bell Award, and this is for training students from everyone. The North Carolina law requires that school boards are elected and that they have to take 12 hours of continuing education. They're the only elected officials that have to have these continuing education hours, and so the State School Boards Association routinely recognizes boards that go above and beyond that. And so tonight, the Caldwell County Board of Education is receiving the Silver Bell Award. Congratulations. Someone will have to open it up so we can get a picture of this great board. you all think you have homework and you have classes to attend, so does the Board of Education.
Okay, it occurred to me that we're not going to have another board meeting before Veterans Day. So if we have anyone in here who's a veteran, we would like to have you stand so we can give you a round of applause. If you would, please. And certainly on Veterans Day, or for that matter, any day, tell those people how much we appreciate the service that they have given to our country. At this time, we're going to continue with what some might perceive a little bit more of the boring part of our meeting. If you want to leave, now would be an appropriate time if you need to go for dinner or maybe to do some homework. But you are welcome to stay.
And for those of you from West Caldwell, you've got to stay, I believe.
And we are truly proud of all these West Caldwell students that have come out tonight. Y'all have a good evening.
Hang on, West Caldwell. We're not done with the meeting. To get that A, it's going to take a little bit more. All right.
Okay, we're going to continue on with the agenda here. This time I'd like to recognize our superintendent, Dr. Steve Stone.
And Mr. Chairman, members of the board and audience, just a point of privilege for our visitors from West Caldwell. What you see in front of you is a typical Board of Education agenda. The board meets once a month on the second Monday of the month at 6 o'clock. We usually start by an art gallery so we can celebrate the success of the arts students in our system. You have 7 members who are, I'm not a member of the Board of Education, I'm the secretary, but you have 7 members who are elected to the Board of Education. They serve for 4-year terms, and they represent all the different areas of our county. And so their role basically is to set policy. Their role is to hire a superintendent. Their role is to set the budget for the district. And so they have tremendous responsibility. So in the board meeting every month, we will present the administration, which is myself, and these folks sitting here on this side of the table. We will present information for the board and ask them to consider it. And the board will vote yes or no, and they do the formal process. They use Robert's Rules of Order to govern our board meetings. So it's a pretty organized meeting. Tonight you're in luck. We do not have a closed session. Traditionally, a closed session is when we go to discuss something that's very personal. But we're only limited in what we can discuss in a closed session. There's certain topics. So tonight we don't have one because usually sometimes that lasts an additional 30 minutes. Sometimes we come back out and we have some action items. So you're off the hook tonight. No closed session, so the meeting will move along very quickly. The board always invites people to come to its meetings. It loves to see people here. We love to see the room full, and we do invite public comment. We invite, and we love to have students here. So feel free to come back even when you're not going for that A, and I do wish you well on the A. A couple of things for the board members to know. We did not receive any damage from Hurricane Matthew. I know Jeff and his department were out and about making sure that there was no damage to the district. But as you mentioned, we certainly do want to remember the folks in the districts around us. October, this is more for our warrior friends here. October is Principal Appreciation Month. So I hope at some point during this month you will grab Mr. Poole and your assistant principals and hug on him or whatever it is appropriate for you to do. But let him know how much you appreciate him and all of the assistant principals as well. October is also Bully Prevention Month, so I hope that you will help us as we try to get that message across in the school system that we have no tolerance, no place for bullying in the school district. And I would love to say that Caldwell County School doesn't have bullying, but you all would look at me and say, and you're telling a story. Because we do know we have a problem, but we hope that you will help us, because we know sometimes the best way to prevent bullying is for that person who is being bullied to have an ally, and for the crowd to step forward and protect that person. So that's really on you. So this is Bullying Prevention Month. Do your best to help us stamp out bullying. We have October the 17th, members of the board, we have a joint meeting with the county commissioners. It'll start at 6 o'clock. We'll have a dinner meeting from 6 to 6:30, and then from 6:30 until perhaps 7:30, we will go into discussions about the proposed Granite Falls Middle School. The county commissioners are looking forward to that conversation with us about the moving forward with the project. For our Warrior friends, we have a great relationship with our county commissioners. Our county commissioners is the other major governing body in the system or in the county, and we have to go to them to request funds to build things. When we want to put new windows at West, or we want to put new carpet at West, we have to go to our county commissioners and say, can you let us use this money? So we have a relationship with the county commissioners, and we will be meeting with them next Monday to talk about the next big project. Our last big project was William Lenore Middle School. Our next big project, of course, will be Granite Falls Middle School. But that doesn't mean that we've forgotten about Gamewell and West Caldwell. Jeff Church over here, this gentleman wave, Jeff, is all the time spending money over there. So we try to maintain your buildings throughout the district. So that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Stone. Next on the agenda is our Associate Superintendent for Human Resource Services, Dr. Trish Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Stone, I have 3 items for your attention this evening, beginning with Exhibit 2. Exhibit 2 includes usual and customary items, personnel items, for your information only, requiring no action. Exhibit 3 includes usual and customary personnel items that require board approval. I respectfully recommend approval of these items as they have been presented to you.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the usual and customary personnel items as presented.
Second. Any comments, questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
And finally, Exhibit 4 includes student transfers for the 2016-2017 school year. Since your last board meeting, we received 22 requests for student transfers. Of the 22 requests, 21 meet established board criteria. We respectfully recommend approval of the 21 transfers as they have been presented. If approved tonight, that brings the total transfer request approval for the 2016-17 school year to 551. I respectfully recommend approval of the transfers.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the student transfers as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
Can I do again for this is so much fun having you guys here.
Dr.
I love to talk.
Dr. Stone was
I'm a
an old
teacher.
history
I
teacher.
was a civics teacher. You heard Dr. Johnson say, we wish to recommend, what was your terminology? When you put the request to us? That's our job as the administrators. We respectfully recommend, and then the board has to make a motion, one, and then it has to have a second, and then the board has discussion, and then they can talk about it. So you'll hear that when Dr. Church comes forward. That's the way in which those of us in administration put something before the board. They are the only ones who can vote on something. We're simply the ones who provide the idea of the motion to them. I love
Very
this.
good.
Thank y'all for coming.
Okay, next on the agenda is the Associate Superintendent for Auxiliary Services, Dr. Jeff Church.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Stone. Auxiliary services, this is a momentous night for auxiliary services because we're moving into the realm of human resources. We now have a usual and customary for auxiliary services. If you recall, back last month, you approved facility construction policy 9030, and this is where I provide information on all change orders. So Exhibit 5 is for information only, and I respectfully request that you approve this for information only.
For information only, we don't need.
No, you don't need that.
Oh, I don't
We
have to do
need
that.
approve that.
Okay, first time. I'm
Action
sorry.
item.
So that's for information only. Flipping over to number 6, Exhibit 6, you have before you a resolution authorizing the sale and upset bid process for the purchase of some property next to Gamewell Elementary School by Johnny LaFever. I have a typo in there. It's not 2.55 acres, it's 0.255 acres. It's about a quarter of an acre. I respectfully request that you approve this resolution that's presented.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve the resolution authorizing the sale and upset bid process as presented.
Is there a second? And we have a second. Any questions or comments about it?
And once again, this is property that we had purchased as a school system previously, right?
Yes, sir. We purchased it in 1994 from his family to run sewer line. Sewer line went into the other side. He's just wanting to buy his property back.
Don't need
Of
it.
no
Don't need
value
it. We
to
don't
us
need it.
now.
It's all, it's his creek bank. It's a creek bank and it's right down the middle of the creek, so
Yeah.
it's no value for us.
Okay, with a motion and a second, any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Dr. Church, while you're there, for the benefit of our students from West Caldwell, can you tell everybody what you do on a regular day?
I have a fun job. It's, we deal with maintenance, we deal with transportation, we deal with child nutrition, and also wraparound. But probably the part that you like the best is the snow days. I'm the one who tells you to start home and or when you have to come back.
Thank you, Dr. Church. Dr. Johnson, if you will, from where you're seated there, just inform them as to what you do.
Human Resource Services deals with all of the employment and the employees within the school district. So starting from hiring to retiring, and sometimes firing, it happens all in our department. So we work with everything that has to do with your teachers that come to work for you, your principals, all of the human resources of people within the school district.
And we have approximately how many people that are employed?
Approximately, including part-time people who are bus drivers, excluding substitute teachers, about 1,800.
Biggest employer in Caldwell County? Dr. Burns, I know you're not on the agenda tonight, but Dr. Burns is a vital part of our school system. So if you don't mind sharing with them your responsibilities.
Well, in all of our job description, the last one says whatever the superintendent says, so that's what keeps me busy. Whatever else has to. My job is curriculum, so it's the classes you have, and everything you study in those classes. Kindergarten, actually, pre-kindergarten through early college, through say grade 13, so everything you study. English, math, science, history, civics, or whatever, that comes through here. So we work on curriculum and see those out. So part of what you're doing, I'm assuming, is somewhere in that first name.
Okay, Christy, if you don't mind standing so we can. This is Neil's wife. I've known Christy, as a matter of fact, her mom kept my son when he was just a baby. So I've known the Ramseys for a long, long time. But Christy, we're glad you're here, and tell Neil that this is a great assignment, and I'd be interested to see what kind of papers he winds up getting from this. So thank you for being here. At this time, we're going to move on with the agenda, and David, as you come up, if you will tell them what you're going to do and as we move in here. This is David Johnson. He is the Director of Finance for the school system.
I guess the biggest thing I do is try to find the money, the resources to make everything work that the board and the superintendent would like and find important for students to learn. This pretty much sums it up.
He's the money man.
Yep.
The money.
Mr. Chairman, board members, and Dr. Stone, I have two amendments tonight. The first amendment is to the State Public School Fund. It is for initial appropriations for the state technology, school connectivity, high school learn and earn, and the merit-based bonus pay. It totals $885,033. The second amendment that I have tonight is for the Federal Grants Fund. It is initial appropriations for Title I, IDEA, and improving teacher quality. It's a total of $6,692,246. If approved tonight, this will bring the total budget for Caldwell County Schools to $117,134,394.19. I would like to respectfully request that these two amendments be approved.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the State Public School Fund as well as the Federal Grant Fund as presented by Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve both budget amendments, first of all to the State Public School Fund and also to the Federal Grant Fund as presented.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Great, thank you.
So
Thank you,
we-
Mr. Johnson.
We might want to tell these young people, we never miss a chance to get more money.
We don't send any back to Raleigh either.
No, no, no.
You already met her a little earlier, Mrs. Libby Brown. She does such a great job. Libby, in addition to leading us through the recognitions and honors, you want to tell them what you do?
Sure. Hi, I'm Libby Brown, and I do a lot of the public information for the school system and community involvement, working with parents and volunteers and the media, and crisis management, so whatever needs to be done to bridge our school system from this organization to your family's home. And I know your best friend over there, Dr. Church, he gets to make that call as far as whether you go to school or not, right? Whether you're delayed or whether school is canceled, and then he calls me about 4:30 in the morning, wakes me up, and then you hear, "Good morning, this is a message from the Caldwell County School." That's me.
Thank you, Libby. Also, seated at the table over here, we, it's a public meeting, and obviously it's reported in the newspaper, and we have with us Jordan Davis, who is a reporter with the news topics. So Jordan, we know your responsibility is to cover the school board and so forth. So that's why he's sitting there next to Mrs. Brown. And the other person sitting over here at the end of the table, Mr. Ed Blair. He is the school board's attorney. He is here to make sure we do it the way we're supposed to do it. All right? Any questions? I think you met about everybody that's up here.
Pam, you didn't meet Pam back there.
Well,
Kathy?
Well, Kathy, right here. Kathy Chandler is Dr. Stone's secretary and does a fantastic job and is very much involved with the board and helps us in so many ways, technology-wise and far beyond that. She does an outstanding job. So thank you, and thank you, Ed, as well. We certainly have a great team here at the Education Center. Dr. Stone, you
Pam,
have
did you
any other
want to say
announcements?
anything, or? You want to say
Ed,
anything?
you want to
while
say
you're here?
anything? Or
All right.
anybody?
All right. The last item for me, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, is just some announcements, and then I would like to see if any of the students from West Caldwell has any questions for the board. Legislation this past year that was passed, there's a couple of things that you heard about at your Region 7 meeting. You heard about the Advanced Placement IB Teacher Bonus Program. We will be certainly getting information from the state. That is a bonus, a one-time bonus for teachers of advanced placement courses for the number of students who pass those. We also have the same pilot program for CTE teachers, so we'll be getting that information from the state soon. The last pilot program we talked a little bit about at our work session has to do with the third grade reading teacher performance. You've heard a little bit about that. As soon as we get information from the state, we'll pass that along. In November or December, we will be presenting to the board for approval the merit pay bonus plan that we'll ask to send to you. The last thing of significance that came from the General Assembly this year had to do with driver's ed, and it appears that driver's ed is safe now, that it will be funded by the state of North Carolina in the foreseeable future because they have found a funding source for that. So I just want to report on a couple of things from the state legislative session. We'd like to see if anybody from West has a question for us before we move into this next part. Come on, now's the time.
Do you guys actually ever disagree on anything? Seems like you don't.
Yeah, we do.
Think
But
that is your
we agree to
case.
disagree.
Yeah.
Usually what happens is that we will discuss these issues before we come out, so that once we come together as a unified front and support. And like Ms. Coffee Greer said, we may not always agree with each other, but when we make a decision, we all support it together.
Yeah, all of our decisions are based off of the students. I mean, personally, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but whenever we're discussing stuff that affects Caldwell County schools, we want what's going to be best for the students, and not just for one section of the county, but the entire county. We want, I mean, there's 26 schools in the county, so we have to think about, just like, you know, that we presented stuff. I was thinking about West Caldwell, where there was funding that came there for the softball field. Dr. Church does very well keeping all the schools up. You know, some require more money than others at certain times, but whatever's the best for the entire school system is what's important.
Any other questions
Thank
for
you.
us?
Yes.
What made you guys want to go into the careers that you have?
I'm not on the board, but I'm a career educator. I was a high school teacher. I was a elementary principal, central office director, and now superintendent. So I've always been in education. This is probably about my 38th year, and it's just always liked being around young folks. Why the board members chose to be on the board? Teresa, you want to real quickly jump to that?
Well, I started my career in education as a middle school teacher, and then was an elementary and high school assistant principal, and then an elementary and high school principal, and just wanted to continue making a difference in Caldwell County.
I'm a CPA, and I wanted to bring my financial expertise to the board. Plus, I'm a parent. I have 4 kids in the school system right now in Caldwell County Schools.
My background is actually nursing, but I've spent a great deal of time volunteering in the schools, and quite a few years ago somebody said, "You're in all the schools all the time. Why don't you just run for school board?" So I did.
I started my career in education at Gamewell Collegeville High School, which became West Caldwell High School. So I was at West Caldwell High School for 25 years. So it's a very special place for me. I went to school actually in the southern end of the county. I did my student teaching over at Highbrighton High School, and then my career in education was at West Caldwell. So I have a love of education, love for young people, and for the community. So that's why I'm on the board. I love getting out and being involved with meetings, athletic events, concerts, those kinds of things. So that's why I enjoy being on the board.
He also taught your parents and probably some of your grandparents.
Probably so.
I'm a lifelong member.
Who said that?
I'm a lifelong member of Caldwell County. I've been volunteering with the school system since 1990, and I'm going to continue to volunteer.
My career was in social work. I was a child protective social worker, and at that time I was able to work with children and families and different kinds of families. And my love for education and for those children that I worked with and their parents and families made me want to be on the school board and still work with children and families, and maybe be able to understand why all children don't progress at the same level. That's helped me a lot, so I enjoy it.
And I've been on the school board 3.5 years, and I had 4 children that's already been through the school system. I came through Caldwell schools, my wife did, and my goal is just to try to give back to the schools because we got a great system. It's a good opportunity for me to get out. I love to, as Darryl said, to be around the students in the schools and see what the schools do for our communities because everyone, they're all important in Caldwell County schools. As I said, there's 26, but each one has its own community involvement, which is really important for that community. So it's good to be a part of that, but just to try to give back to the schools is what my goal is.
And I also have grandchildren that's currently in the school system, middle school and high school. All my children attended the school system here, which is a great educational system. We all have been lucky that we could attend here. So I still have a vested interest as well as the other.
Thank you all. Any other questions? All right, we got one more item here. The entire Board of Education attended the District 7 meeting recently. It was at Allegheny High School up in Sparta. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to go there. But anyway, I'm going to give the board an opportunity at this time to mention some things or comment on the meeting. If anyone has anything they want to bring up about it.
Well, we always appreciate the opportunity for what's called a legislative update, because every time the General Assembly, our local people in Raleigh meet, they do something that changes what we have to do. So we have people in Raleigh who are what we call lobbyists, who go to the General Assembly on behalf of school boards across the state. And what they do is try to communicate to our legislators what will be the best things to do for our schools. And we have the opportunity to help them decide that. We get to vote on that at our annual meeting, which will actually be next month. And so that's one of the ways that we hope we can have an effect on the decisions that come out of Raleigh. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
The district meetings also give us as an opportunity as a board to collaborate and to be able to reach out and to speak to other boards of education around us and our surrounding counties like Catawba County and Burke County and Watauga and so forth. So it gives us an opportunity to sit down with other board members who are members of other boards of education and say, okay, what's working in your county, you know, what's not working, and it gives us an opportunity just to be able to connect with them.
We also connected in a tight band riding over there, all of us in the band together. Dr. Strong driving us over there all the way to Allegheny High School in this curvy
Scary.
road. So it was fun.
Yeah, the ladies was in the back.
Okay, anyone else? All right, well, you people are fortunate in the fact that we're going to be adjourning here momentarily. We are just so happy that you were able to be here with us this evening. The board did have a work session this afternoon starting at 3 o'clock, and that took us 2.5 hours. And we talked about a variety of topics which the board is going to be considering in the near future. So, you know, we have been here for a while.
And Guy Gardner's group had a great.
Oh, absolutely. They always do. We had dinner, and Guy Garner and his group provided dinner for us, and they do such a fantastic job each time they provide the food for us. With nothing else, do I hear a motion we adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Have a great evening.